Welcome back to breaking news now at 5:30. Sean Diddy Combs has been denied bail. So breaking news here is going to be remaining behind bars following a partial verdict in his federal case. Manhattan jury found him guilty on 2 counts of transporting individuals for prostitution, but acquitted him on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Now, despite the mixed outcome, the judge did rule that Diddy must stay in custody, citing consequences and seriousnesses of the convictions at hand. Today, let's get right to Lisa Evers, who's live in front of the courthouse. Lisa, what was the decision by the judge to deny bail for Diddy?
Well, Bianca Natasha, first of all, this I'm sure was a tremendous disappointment to his mother and to his children and to his other family, and as well as to the supporters that we've seen out here outside of the courthouse. But in terms of the legality of it, according to Attorney Jeremy Sallin, who we've been speaking with this hour, he said that this is fairly standard in terms of a conviction on these prostitution transportation charges, which are the 2 counts that Diddy was found guilty of. Now, what the big argument and the big push to keep him behind bars obviously came from the prosecutors. I'm sure it seemed that they were very upset about the verdict from the jury not getting that RICO case that they had pushed so hard for against the better advice of some in the legal community who didn't think that was appropriate in this particular circumstance. They also lost out on the sex trafficking. That was not guilty. And they said at the this morning, the prosecution said, Your Honor, we need several hours to come back and consider bail. Otherwise, they would have just considered the bail, the bail application and the bail situation right there shortly after the verdict was read. That was not the case. They were granted all these extra hours, the extra afternoon. Sean Diddy Combs sitting in a holding cell all the while this afternoon while they're crafting these letters to the judge to explain their positions. And the defense was arguing his mother, who we've seen many times here on Fox 5 going in and out of court every single day to support her son. She's 85 years old. The argument of the defense was that he's her primary caregiver, and certainly he is the closest relative to her, and that he also has a 3-year-old baby daughter, baby love Sean Combs, and that's her name. So that was their argument, but the prosecution he still remains a danger. They wanted him behind bars until the sentencing, and this was, I'm sure, was devastating to Combs and many of the family who seemed elated. They were elated, in fact, when they heard those not guilty verdicts. But it's one more step, and as we've seen with Combs and other situations, once he's determined it, he's going to see it through. The worst is over in one sense, in that he is not looking at life behind bars. On the other hand, his attorneys will have to file an appeal to this to this denial of bail. And remember, they had several bail applications throughout the course of the pre-trial conferences and after his arrest that were completely denied, and those were just eye-popping bail packages: $50 million, 24-hour guards, an Upper East Side apartment where there was limited access, no internet access for him, monitoring cameras, monitoring his activities, no guests allowed coming in, and that was denied. So we'll see what happens now. But this has to be a devastating blow for the family. The family's been very united and come together.
Somebody said deport Sean Combs. They said deport Sean Combs. How can he be deported?
They're at this. We saw the 2 sprinters that have taken most of the family after 1 o'clock this afternoon, or a little bit earlier. A little bit after that, after we found out that the hearing would be at 5 o'clock, they all went out together to have lunch, or to have something to eat, if in fact they could do that. I'm sure many of them thinking, okay, you know what, Dad's coming home, my son's coming home, that type of thing, and he will not have to spend another night in the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center, which is a place nobody wants to go. And so that's what it is. It's just a devastating blow for them. They went from this high this morning of realizing that there's just those 2 counts of the prostitution transportation that they're facing, and that the that can be dealt with over time. That's a far cry, Bianca, Natasha, from looking at life behind the possibility of life behind bars, which would have been with the RICO case and many decades on the sex trafficking case, because that also carries a very heavy penalty. But that's it for today so far. And then tomorrow tomorrow the courtroom will be, tomorrow the whole courthouse is on administrative leave, is on administrative closure, meaning that we're getting excuse me one second, we're getting interference from all the helicopters up above. So tomorrow the courthouse that you see right behind me, where the trial's taking place and where this bail hearing just happened, that will be closed for an administrative closure. There will be no activity there, no scheduled activity there. Friday, the courthouse is federal holiday closed. It's always closed on Saturdays and Sundays. So there was obviously a pressure to get this decision in before the holiday weekend. And I'm sure there's a lot of disappointment all the way around that they just couldn't bring him home tonight. Natasha and Bianca?
Yeah, Lisa, you mentioned that the $50 million bail package, which is pretty extreme. Why was that not enough to convince the court to let him go on bond here, especially with all those other extra things you were talking about?
Could you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
Could
you repeat that again?
The $50 million bond and bail package that you mentioned, including the other restrictions, those list of restrictions that you mentioned, you would think that that would be enough for a judge to say, all right, I can agree to this, but it wasn't. So there was a reason behind that. And why was that?
Yes. Well, the reason behind that, and that's a great question. What the reason behind that particular denial was the fact that the feds, when you're in prison or you're in jail, they're monitoring all your calls, and they tell you straight up, we're monitoring all your calls. The lead prosecutor, Maureen Comey, told the judge that he had been using other people's phone privileges, because when you're a detainee, you only have a certain number of phone calls at a certain time, using other people's phone privileges to make calls to intimidate witnesses, and that this would not be allowed. And then, as we've heard throughout the day here today with some of our legal experts, that witness intimidation is a crime or an allegation they take extremely seriously here. But the question is that even a factor now, because he was not convicted of the sex trafficking or the RICO? So I'm sure it was very disappointing for the defense, for the prosecution. It was like, well, at least we got something, and they got the transportation for prostitutions. But I think it was a big come down for the federal prosecutors. That's what pretty much every legal commentator and legal expert is telling us today. That's the latest here from federal court. Natasha and Bianca, back to you in the studio.
Yeah, definitely a high to a low. All right, Lisa, thank you very much.
Watching Fox
Thank you for watching Fox News for continuing coverage of the Diddy verdict. We will also be posting any updates on our Fox local app. Make sure you download that. It is free.
I just went outside. Well, no bond for Diddy. No bail for Diddy. He's headed back to jail. He's likely headed back to jail. They just standing outside waiting for somebody to come out and tell them what's really going on. And they'll be closed tomorrow, and then a federal holiday. The 4th of July will be closed too. Friday. So they'll be closed tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday and Sunday. Up back up Monday morning. But that's all I'm gonna listen to on that right there. Oops. Oh my God. Hey, Rodney. It is fussing now. How you doing, Rodney? I'm just going over the video, the live video of the Diddy trial. People in the background heckling. Going crazy over there. Going crazy. So what did I do today? I went to the pool. I didn't get in because I didn't have no changing clothes. So I might go back tomorrow and go to the pool. Get dark out there though. I don't want to get dark. That sun eats you alive. That sun will eat you alive. Cause I know them babies that was out there swimming. They dark as hell. I like, you dark, ain't you? You look dark for your age, ain't you? She said, yeah. But I'm watching what is this? Is this NBC? They ain't even started yet. I guess I said it ain't got time. Bail hearing. Bail is denied for real.
And is not a danger to the community. Defense attorney says. Its attorney said Combs is no.
Everybody's reporting on this.
Judge responds to Mark here, saying, Mr. Combs tried to get into a batters program in New York. The jury never saw that. And he got arrested.
I don't want to listen to him.
All these months later, here we are. The same drive to meet the head on.
Yes, there is. Let me get this order out. Woo! Oh, I'm gonna have to go, y'all. That's all I had. Bye.